Wanted to get your comments and thoughts on the ongoing debacle of Snow White, a movie that we're still a year away from seeing. And my God, this just, it doesn't quit. I mean, we had the comments from Rachel Zegler before. And let me get those kind of pulled up in the background. And then recently she's out on the streets pounding away with SAG-AFTRA, and now she wants more money. So what are your thoughts on all this? I haven't had a chance to talk with you about the Snow White stuff and Rachel Zegler. So give me your thoughts on this one, and I'll bring up some of the articles to remind folks what we're talking about here.
Well, for starters, on the this is a modern Snow White. The princess, she's not going to be saved by Prince. It's interesting because there's two different, we did this on Toxic Femme Monday. There's two different interviews where one time you've got Rachel saying it, then the next time Gal's got to jump in and say it. And it's almost
I've got them both.
Okay. It's almost like, have you guys seen that clip where they've got the different news anchors and they all say the exact same thing?
Yeah.
That's kind of what this is starting to seem like. Like they were given these couple lines from on high and they were told this is what you're going to promote. But I mean, but then let's just move on to that. I mean, it's just a joke. And that's what, again, back to Barbie. Why is Barbie making $1 billion? Because it looks like what people thought, what they imagined.
This looks like Woodstock as presented by Crayola.
It looks awful. And it looks like, cheap cosplay is what this looks like.
Which one's the short little person again? I'm trying to figure that out.
He's in the front. He's leading the way.
Oh, okay. Racist.
Yeah, and not to mention, Disney, in the name of diversity, took away multiple positions that little people could have had, but
Michelle,
no,
come on. The way to inclusion is exclusion. We all know this.
Yeah, that's your 7 people. It used to be the 7 dwarves.
Is laid to a strong nation.
I mean,
if you want people who might be or people with dwarfism, let's say that. If you want people with dwarfism to feel beloved and cherished and respected, make sure they're never, ever, 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 ever seen on the big screen whenever possible.
Never.
That's the Disney way.
I've heard
Just
they
in
do.
your backpack.
I've heard most don't mind fun-sized.
That's good to know.
From
But
personal experience.
like look at this picture. Snow White, the main audience you've got to appeal to are well, actually, this should be a movie that could appeal up to grandmothers and in some cases great grandmothers if they're still alive and go to the movies. But you've got to appeal to little girls and their mothers. And what about this appeals to women in general? Whether
that fellow in the back doesn't do that. The one that looks like he's sending harassing letters over,
I mean, if
I'm not
I
even
was
sure he's one of them.
If I was a mother with a 16-year-old girl, I wouldn't want my daughter to be with that group. Like that doesn't seem it doesn't look like a safe group.
If that crew comes walking towards the playground, you're saying it's time to get in the van, but not their van. Not their van.
Let's specify which van.
They do look like a Jethro Tull tribute band. That's part of the problem. The other thing is here's the weird thing about this movie is, and I brought this up before, they're no longer minors. Not only are they not dwarves, they're not minors, which I'm going to say it again. Can't believe Disney would distance themselves from minors. That being said, so they're bandits now, and the prince is not a prince. He's the leader of the bandits.
Oh.
Okay. So why isn't even Snow White anymore? This is the one time I'm scratching my head going, Disney, you've accidentally backed yourself into a more original story here. Why don't you just call it like The Princess and the 7 Bandits or something like that, or the 8 Bandits, whatever there is now, since the prince isn't one. But whatever.
It'd be Hispanic, white, and the 7 confused almost tall people.
Well, she could just be the princess, because that's the other thing is nobody's ever called her Princess Snow White, and the fact that she is supposed to be a princess has never been a huge part of the story outside of her mother marrying her dad and becoming the evil queen or whatever. Like, it's this whole idea that this story is about her taking on the responsibility of the kingdom now. What the hell is all that? That was never in the original story.
Yeah. And I was going to say, let me kind of bring that up for people that haven't seen it. I think it's towards the back half of this right here. I think it's about
while you're looking for that, I, for one, am also excited about the changed lyrics. Hi ho, it's off to welfare we go. It's just it's a lovely thing to do.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about 1930.
Yeah. This is the comment here.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true.
See, this doesn't even sound like Snow White anymore.
No, she needs to put down the Beyonce album, the one that cockblocks.
Well, you know what sticks out to me though is that she said this is not 1937 anymore. This is what that one dude on Pierce Morgan kept bringing up. Remember that, Michelle? Because we broke down that video. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it's a great video where you got the guy who played Hornswoggle on WWE wrestling and stuff like that. He's talking about the whole Peter Dinklage situation. And you got this wokey woke dude on the other side with Pierce Morgan talking, and he just
a comedian
for like
dude
15 minutes. Yeah, it is some of the funniest stuff you'll ever see because they just drive this guy into the ground with his stupidity, and because he can't wrap his head around the idea that, you know, Disney screwed up here by basically going against everything they stand for with this whole virtue signaling thing. It's like you're erasing little people from movies, right? And they even brought up the whole Willy Wonka thing now when they got, you know, Hugh Grant playing Oompa Loompa now instead of little people. So it's ridiculous, and I just see this movie falling flat on its face, and this whole idea that, you know, we need to modernize it and little people are part of the problem. It's like, no, Disney, you're the problem if you haven't figured that one out yet.
Well,
Snow White has had how many different versions now other than theirs? But yeah.
When your headquarters are actually they feature pillars with these characters holding up the columns of your headquarters building, and when your entire company is based on the foundation of a film that sort of set the world ablaze, and your creator came to prominence via that film, I find it's best to find an arrogant 22-year-old woman who's about 4'6" to go out there and just devastate everything that your company is built upon.
Well,
that really is the way to go.
She's trying to get for Polly Pocket.
Yeah, in all seriousness though, gosh, that was tough to say for some reason.
Tom, you know why they didn't go with people with dwarfism? Because they would not have been any shorter than she. So that would have just, I mean, this wasn't going to make any sense.
Well, what I said a year ago is when Dinklage come out and pitched his fit, and Disney said that I didn't realize that they had initially planned on going that route with little people at all, because when they said, oh, we're just going to have magical creatures, first thing that popped in my head is, oh, they're just going to CGI the dwarves so they look exactly like they do in the original movie. There's going to be 3D, you know, renderings of them, because that's what makes Snow White, Disney Snow White, unique, is the Seven Dwarfs. For those who don't know, that's the place where we get Sleepy, Dopey, Doc, all that stuff. Those are the dwarf names, and those versions of the dwarfs are what's unique to Disney's version.
Tom, how dare you? Those are their dead names now.
And it's like, yeah, that's like, that's your point. You're saying these characters are literally holding up pillars at Disney, and yet they're basically ignoring them now. I mean, I thought that, that's why they're not going to hire any little people. But yeah.
I've got two things on this. One, I've never met a girl that doesn't want true love. Secondly, and if you did meet one, they probably are a very damaged, broken woman that needs counseling. Secondly, there's actually kind of a sexist thing they keep doing with this. Have you guys noticed that it's only female leads that they will not let have a love interest, but like male heroes have gone love interest throughout time, throughout movie history, whether the heroes of the story get a love interest. But have you noticed that when it comes to female lead characters, the new trend is they're not allowed to get a love interest, and I actually find that kind of sexist in its own way. Why does the woman? Why
you can't care about a Ken?
Why does the woman have to pick A or B? Why?
No, and it's funny because I made the joke before, Michelle. I think even on Toxic Femme, where I brought up facetiously that Disney was the one place where misandry reigned, because even all the princes and the love interests in the movies up until more recent years, like Eric and stuff like that, didn't even have any real personalities. They were just there.
At least Eric killed Ursula, you know, at least he did that.
Yeah, like, I mean, they really were just like placeholders. Literally, like Prince Charming is like a placeholder. Like he's just a
Let me run this other clip real quick here
Sorry,
before
yeah.
Michelle has to go, because I want to keep getting some of her thoughts on this while she's got some time with us.
In the clothes, you can see the character evolves. I
Skip
have
past
over
this.
and every one of them
Talking about the
is truly
costuming.
able, and she knows what she.
The reality is that the cartoon was made 85 years ago, and
So smart.
therefore it's extremely dated when it
Old
comes
things
to
are
the
bad.
ideas of women being in roles of power and what a woman is fit for in the world. And so when we came to reimagining the actual role of Snow White, it became about the fairest of them all, meaning who is the most just and who can become a fantastic leader. And the reality is, Snow White has to learn a lot of lessons about coming into her own power before she can come into power over a kingdom.
Also, the fact that she's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's the
keep repeating
proactive
that,
one,
too.
and she's
Yep.
the one who set the terms, is what makes it so.
She sets the terms. Like, I don't understand. Let me say this, Michelle. I want your thoughts. I don't understand what any of this means. I don't understand what none
Well,
of
it
this
means that Snow White is going to become a full partner at a law firm. I mean, that's what
Something.
we're hearing here.
And
I
not
mean,
only that,
I don't
they
know-
literally interpreted fair. They're running interference for some idiot writer who heard fairness and took it as a literal term, not like the physical term.
No,
You
no,
know,
no,
being
Tom.
fair.
No, Tom. They had to change the meaning of fair because look at the casting choices here.
Yes.
I know I was making
The
an
mirror
intelligence
wasn't gonna
joke
lie.
though, but yeah.
The mirror's not going to lie to Rachel Zegler and tell her
No,
she's
I
the fairest
know.
of these two.
So Snow White is on a never-ending quest to get women of that age to
So
vote.
that's what I'm
Is that
saying
it
is they had to change fair from meaning good looking to fair as in just, right? Like you're fair. I'm being fair with you.
Yeah, but
Yes.
honestly, I would go back to 1937 and just halfway through the film, everyone just calls Snow White a witch and they just burn her at the stake.
Why would the evil witch even be pissed about that? She's like, of course I'm not fair. I'm the evil witch. It's in my name.
Well, as I was
By the end of
saying,
this film,
I don't
there'll be Ruth
understand
Bader's-
anything about this because this kind of interview here, I mean, when you go out and you want to, you want to start getting people excited going to see a movie like this, you're talking about a character that's been around for 85 years, a character that everybody knows, and now you're telling the audiences that, hey, doesn't matter what you're familiar with, doesn't matter what you liked, doesn't matter what has sold at Disney billions of dollars worth of merchandise and copies of the films for the last 85 years. No. That was all old and it was stupid. And talking about things like, Snow White didn't have her own agency in her film or something like this. It's a simple fairy tale story.
Well,
And all of a sudden now we have to empower feminist politics or whatever
This
they
worked for the
envision.
Little Mermaid, okay?
Yeah,
It worked
exactly.
For the Little Mermaid. Ariel did great.
Yeah, that has to be in there now because this is the modern audience. Michelle, I want to get your opinion. You grew up, you are the core demographic for this movie. You're the person that they're targeting. Little girls, moms, women that grew up as little girls watching these movies. What do you see here? What are these changes? Who are these appealing to?
The audience, the same audience they kind of keep trying to appeal to with like Lucasfilm that's just not existent. Like a very tiny, again, I guess damaged women is who they're trying to appeal to because most women, despite their political beliefs, leanings, whatever they are, don't really think this way. That's just the bottom line. Again, most women, they can say they don't want to get married. The second that ring is popped, they want to get married. That's just how women are. Like we are who we are. That was how it was from the beginning of time, and it's how it's going to be from the end of time. And they can keep trying to change it, but it's just not. It's just stupid, and it takes away the fantasy for little girls. Little girls dream about their wedding. Little girls love princess stuff. And
Do they still really? Because everybody keeps telling me they don't anymore. And I have two daughters, and I don't see that as being the case. But maybe something has changed in the last 5 or 10 years I'm not aware of.
No, it's not changed, and that's why they're going to get the same result, if not worse, than they did with The Little Mermaid. And just like with Little Mermaid, I'm not going to see this movie because why would I do that to myself?
May I ask a question quickly, Michelle?
Yeah.
Does this fall into the same trend that we've seen Hollywood and MSM and even politicians do? Is they're going after the mentally malleable, the silly putty brains that don't really know who they are, can't think for themselves, and they're preying off the insecurities of what is so easy to pick?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a part of it, and I think it's true. I always hear critical drinker, the message. It's just like that's what they want. They want men and women kind of divided. They want this, and that's why they keep kind of pushing it, and they're going to keep pushing it more than likely until I guess there's just. I mean, I guess this is going to have to lose the same amount of money as Little Mermaid.
I think it could potentially lose more. I talked about in the
Yes.
video today, Michelle. The problem is, and I want your honest opinion on this because, again, I didn't grow up the same way you did with the affinity for Disney products because, like we talked about before, Disney has always been traditionally very much a powerhouse for the little girls market. You know, it's as far as selling products, but never so much for the guys. To me, I looked at The Little Mermaid, and as I said in the video today, that movie should have done the numbers that Barbie is doing right now.
Absolutely.
And I said that a year ago. I said, Little Mermaid's a layup. That's the most popular Disney princess they've ever had outside of the more modern era, like with Elsa and Anna and Frozen. Little Mermaid was the biggest thing they had in the 90s. That sold so many toys, so many soundtracks, everything. Movie should have been easy. Didn't happen. Snow White, while still very popular, nowhere near as popular in the last 30 years as Little Mermaid and some of these other ones. This movie is at a disadvantage to The Little Mermaid. Mm-hmm. It never had the soundtrack that The Little Mermaid had that was so popular through generational lines. It had the princess and it had the dwarves, and that was the unique thing about it. Or it had Snow White in that, more specifically, the yellow dress and the red hood and all that kind of stuff. There was visually, it was something very distinct, as well as the Seven Dwarfs. That's gone now. So my point is, do you think that there's, I mean, did you perceive Snow White as being on par with a Belle or an Ariel when you grew up in that era?
No, not at all. I mean, because I grew up in the era where it was Belle and Ariel. And then people, I liked Mulan when that came out, but no, that there is not near the popularity for this character in general. And I think if you were going to do it, you need to do it pretty true to the story and really dive into, have beautiful effects of like that German culture, because this is a German fairy tale. Like really go all in with that and get like excellent casting that looks the part. But I think you're totally right. Again, Little Mermaid should have been a $1 billion movie had they made it look like we all thought it was supposed to be and actually cared and did a good job with it. Had they even just done a live action version of the OG movie, it would have made $1 billion. But this, I do not think so. I don't know a single person that their favorite character was Snow White.
So no Barbie bump?
No.
Probably not. And
What's
here's
the difference in Barbie in this one?
Barbie, they gave what people think of when they think of Barbie. They gave what we think when we think of Ken. Right. It looked the way it was supposed to look. That's really it. I mean, for the most part.
And you don't think that this, whatever this feminist push is now, that this is going to translate and perhaps some of these other companies can ride the coattails? Because I don't know if you saw the article out of Huffington Post that's just absolutely crazy, where there's a mom taking her son, her 15-year-old son, to see Barbie to try to prevent him from becoming a Ken, because she already will have less rights than he will, and yada, yada, yada. And she's encouraging other moms to take sons to see Barbie. And then we've got Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau going, and he's trying to. So anyway, this is all becoming political. I just wonder, are other companies going to attempt to say, we're going to make our Snow White, our The Marvels, appeal to this same group that's going and supporting Barbie?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they can try. I just think Barbie was lightning in a bottle. Again, there was such a hunger for something that was truly feminine, because, and I know there's a lot of woke elements in the movie, but there's also just a lot of feminine elements in this movie. And there was just a hunger for that. And they knocked it out of the park with the casting for this movie. The visuals, how much pink was used in this movie. And then the fact that every single girl has a Barbie, basically. It just was kind of a once in a lifetime thing, almost like The Force Awakens. Disney can never get The Force Awakens again. The hype that was behind that. And I don't think you're going to see anything get near the hype that was behind Barbie.
Yeah. I would tend to agree. And going back to The Little Mermaid for a second, you know, one of the biggest problems with that film, apart from visually not getting people engaged because they didn't make it look like The Little Mermaid, they added 45 minutes to it. The first movie didn't need that extra 45 minutes. It was virtually perfect just as it was. Kind of wondering how much time they're going to add to Snow White. The original film was, what, 80 some odd minutes? Is this going to be another 2 hour and 15 minute slogfest that Disney is just going to destroy with all kind of extra garbage? What is even the point of the prince? There's not really a prince in it.
Saying, yeah.
You know, it's like you get to that. But I mean, to the point that Pro was making, this is the article. I
just wanted to address real quick what Michelle was saying, because I think she's got a point, though. But I wonder what the studios are going to learn out of this, more so being, oh, she's still, you know, powerful woman. We just got to make it pink now.